Hello everyone. Today, I would like to talk about boundaries in my speech. For starters, what are boundaries? Boundaries are established social rules that are considered typical because most people in society agree that they are reasonable ways to live. They are critical in society because they direct behaviors or cultures, but they can also be used to exclude others, in which can become unfair and harmful. Boundaries help us take care of ourselves, like giving us permission to say no to things. However, boundaries draw a clear line around what is okay and what is not. Boundaries can also work for individuals or for in relationships for healthy relations. Social boundaries makes it easier for us to determine what is similar and different about ourselves in comparison to others that we meet. For example, every person deals with personal space boundaries. Personal space boundaries are the boundaries we keep when interacting with others in public. Another example in which interacting people in a public bus, schools, or even office. There are other types of boundaries. One of them is physical boundaries. Physical boundaries are limits that relate to space and our environment. Sometimes they are quite personal. It could also be said that it means comfort with touch, but it is okay to let people know that you don't want to be touched or that you need more space. When meeting someone new, you could try 1. Wave from a few feet away. 2. Smile and say, "I don't shake hands, but I'm so glad to meet you." 3. Don't feel the need to apologize or explain yourself beyond that. The second is emotional boundaries. Emotional boundaries refer to the outer limit that separates thoughts, feelings, and perceptions from the other person. It sets limits and draws a line that safeguards personal space and protects your beliefs, values, and self-image. To set personal emotional boundaries is about developing a no trespass zone. The emotional boundary that you create around you helps you to define your priorities in life. However, it creates a safe and secure space for every person. The best way to set this boundary is before it even becomes an issue. For example, you got into an argument with someone and they called you an unkind name. Once you have both calmed down, the best way to set an emotional boundary with that person is to 1. Approach them, and 2. Ask to speak about the argument. 3. Own any part you may have played in the argument going awry. 4. Tell them that you are not okay with name calling and that you will need them to engage without stooping to that level in the future. And then there are spiritual boundaries, to which it means protecting your right to believe in what you want, worship as you wish, and practice your spiritual or religious beliefs. For example, I'm going to take a moment and say a silent prayer before we eat. There's also non-negotiable boundaries, which are deal breakers, things that you absolutely must have in order to feel safe. They usually pertain to safety issues such as physical violence, emotional abuse, drug or alcohol use, fidelity, and life-threatening health issues. Example, Mom, if you don't install a fence around your pool, my children will not be able to come to your house. We all need some non-negotiable boundaries, but we also need to be careful that we don't put too many of our boundaries into this category. If a non-negotiable boundary is going to have any meaning, you have to be willing to follow through on it. It's counterproductive to set non-negotiable boundaries that you don't enforce. Time boundaries is also count. Time boundaries protect how you spend your time. They protect you from agreeing to do things you don't want to do, having people waste your time, and being overworked. Your time is precious, and you should be careful about spending it. Setting time boundaries is crucial at work, at home, and in social relationships. Setting time boundaries entails recognizing your priorities and allocating sufficient time through various aspects of your life without overcommitting. Once you understand your preference, limiting the amount of time you give to other people is much easier. Time boundaries help you make the most of your time and help you keep pursuing your goals without having to compromise on your personal life. And then, financial boundaries. Quote, "Money boundaries are limits that you put it in place to protect how you feel and to protect your finance," says Aja Evans, a licensed mental health counselor and financial therapist in New York City. Financial boundaries let you set clear expectations around how you engage with money and how you allow money to affect your relationships. Some examples of financial boundaries might include 1. Creating and adhering to a budget. 2. Limiting how much you spend on wants versus needs. 3. Saying no to someone who frequently borrows money. 4. Offering to cover a specific expense for someone instead of handing over cash. There's another type of boundary that we use in our daily lives. That boundary is group boundaries. It may be either formal or informal. Group boundaries is considered impermeable, and where status relations are considered stable. In our lives, there are also some people who misuse boundaries. Unhealthy boundaries are harmful because they can lead us to constantly be at the mercy of others, allowing others to tell us how to think, act, and feel. It also means mostly spending time and energy doing what the others want us to do. Setting boundaries are important to not let anyone take advantage of us or others. That's all for what I can deliver today. I apologize if there are kind of mistakes, and for the last I can say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.